And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Nouvelle, France. Now, if you've seen this game, it is not a small box. That is a huge box, and it comes with a bunch of blocks. You are building up 3 buildings here together with everybody else, placing blocks. It's not a dexterity game. It is a game where when you place the blocks, you're going to see what level they are on, and then score points based on that. Here's how it goes. So here we have sort of the setup of the board. There's actually a big scoring board which you place these 3 buildings around, but there's not enough room in the camera shot for it. But you're going to have 3 buildings that everyone's going to be working on, and there's a bunch of blocks. There's 4 of each type of block. There's a different shape for that block, and there's 4 different variations of the colors of that. Each player is going to be 1 color block. You're going to take 3 building blocks of that type, a 1, a 2, and a 3 size. You're also going to get some special characters that you'll be able to use that will give you some bonuses. You're going to place these 3 buildings out here, and next to each building you're going to place one of these. This is going to tell you the point values of blocks on it. So point values on the first level here are positive, second level negative, and the third level double. And so each one's going to be a different combination of those. And players are building blocks. The buildings can never go over 3 points. By simply on your turn, you're going to either draw a card, place it in the corresponding thing. There's 2 cards at start, so there's always going to be 3 cards. Then you'll pick a card, take a corresponding block of that color, and place it on one of the boards. And there's some placement rules. You have to set it so that it doesn't fall over. See, that's not legal. But this one is legal. You can't go higher than 3. And then you're going to score points for each of your color blocks. So if I was white, putting this would be 2 points. However, later on, let's say I put this piece out, this would also be 2 points. But if I managed, well, that's not a good piece to show there. Let's say I put this one out, I would get 2 points, plus I touched another white block, so it would give me 3 points. So having your blocks touching each other is a useful thing, although you're also watching where you put your colors and other players' colors according to these scoring things. Instead of drawing a card, you can play your 1, and then later on you'll be able to play your 2 and 3, and this gives you some more control over what goes where. There are 3 snowflake cards in a deck, and when these are drawn, scoring happens. After each snowstorm, you're going to score the bottom level after the first snowstorm, and the second one and the third one. So here, everyone gets positive points for this level. On the second one, you get minus for each block of yours. And after the second one, you'll score double. Now, once a snowstorm is done, you are then going to put down a layer of snow. So there's these huge blocks here. So they're going to go like this and match around it. From now on, any blocks that are placed will not score points if they're on the bottom level. After the second snowstorm, you'll drop another level of snow, like this. And after the third snowstorm, the game ends. So this shows you what the other 2 buildings look like with the snow on top of them. Of course, they'll be full of blocks too. Players have 3 special characters that they can use. This one, you can use them once between each snowfall. Lets you look at the top 3 of the cards and pick one. This one here gives you half the points somebody else scores. And this lets you double your own points when placing a block. So players are going to be doing that. You'll also notice that these figures are down here. If you fill in the bottom block of every spot on a level, you'll get this token, which is worth that many points. And that's basically it. You're going to score at the end of the game after the 3rd snowfall for the top level, get points for if you've collected any of these, and whoever has the most points is the winner. There's also a solo mode with other standees if you want to play that. In a word, this game is essentially, I would say, opulent, which makes sense considering the time. You have these 2 boxes that come, and you have to kind of figure out essentially how to put the different pieces in them. You know, they're going to fit in very specific ways. It's a little bit of a Tetris thing to be able to fit them in. It's not that difficult, but just letting you know that that's one of the things. I get that, although, again, like I said, having 2 of these and then having all the pieces make this a very big box. Everything is huge. These white pieces are nice, and they fit together cool, and there's a huge statue here of Louis, and in fact there's even stuff that's a bust of Louis the 14th. There's this historical booklet, which I like, you know, it talks about all the different things in the game, and it all fits in this nice plush insert. It just feels like the game is bigger than it needs to be. Also, the blocks themselves, so here you can see the blocks themselves are clearly blocks that were glued together, which maybe is on purpose so that it's harder for them to stack. It's a little odd to me. I thought that they would, you know, just make a wooden shape and stuff, but they don't always fit together as perfectly as I would like. They fit together well most of the time. But I mean, here I'm just being pretty picky. I think that the colors are pretty easy to differentiate. You will need a good amount of table space to put this on the board. And the rules do explain everything. Although, again, I think it's a little weird that you have these characters, big giant characters, and then little things about what they might do, when I would have just put on there maybe some text as to what they actually do. Okay, so there's some interesting things here. I want to say out first, I like the game. I like the picking of the blocks. You have 3 different blocks to pick from. Well, 3 different shapes to pick from. And then of those shapes, as time goes by, you're eventually going to be placing almost every block on the board. But usually you want to place the one that has the most of your color. For 2 reasons. One, you want to score as many points. And you want to make sure that the one that has a lot of your color is placed on the levels, because you're constantly thinking about what levels thing goes on, onto the ones that score points. So I like that there's 2 ways of scoring points. Scoring points by touching blocks, which doesn't happen as frequently as you might think, and then what level are they going to be on. Now, there is some problems with the game. This game, I don't normally talk about my ratings of games, but this one I would give a 7 to. But it's about the lowest 7 I can give it. I think it's fine, but there are some issues I have with the game. It's too big. It's just too big. I get games can be big and grandiose, but this game isn't a big and grandiose game, and it takes up too much room putting the blocks out. The blocks also can fall over when you're putting out those big snowstorms. Those are neat, but they're there literally just to show you that you don't score those blocks anymore. I could remember that. I could remember we don't score on the first level or not, and they take up a huge amount of the box. It's a heavy box, and the decisions in this game seem like they're greater than they are. It's a pretty small game, and sometimes the blocks fall over depending on how you place them. You have to be careful with that. But I still enjoy it. It's still fun. I played it with my kids. They liked it too. You know, it's not a complicated game. Take this, move this, put this. When do you use your little blocks? Like your level 1 block, you have to use before the first snowstorm. Your level 2, you have to use between the first and second. And your level 3, you have to use between the second and third. But you'll never have a problem with that because you're going to use those blocks. And also, you remember to use your special characters. They don't give a lot of points, but hey, why not? They give you some extra things to do. The most interesting part of the game, like I said, is trying to make sure that your stuff is on the right levels to score, because getting 1 point for every block or 2 points for every block is no small feat. And then also scoring as the game goes by. And there's a little bit of, I guess, not take that, but it is fun to say, oh, you got 3 grays on this one? Look, I stuck all of them on the minus point level and one of mine on the times 2. So there you go. If you like building with blocks, and again, remember, it's not a dexterity game where you're trying to knock stuff over, and you don't mind the big, grandiose nature of this game, I think you really will have a lot of fun. It feels slightly different than the other games that are out there that have this sort of thing, and it is a spectacle on the table. So that's Nouvelle, France. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment approved.